Hey, it's Delphine with another video, and today I'm going to show you how I made the main bass in this track or beat or whatever you want to call it. Okay, it's supposed to be a remake of the track Rocket from Dope D.O.D, produced by Noisia, so pretty good shit. And let's get to it. So here, I'll show you the patch. Let's turn off all the automation clips and let's just hear this one bass sound on its own. Here. Pretty nasty stuff. So here, I'll just turn off the automation so you can hear the sound itself. Okay, let's start with the oscillator A. So I used this wavetable that I got from some YouTuber, and I'm gonna put it in the description so you can download it. What I did here is I'm basically just modulating the LFO. I'm modulating the wavetable position with the LFO number 1. You can get the values here. And I'm using the FM from oscillator B. So the other oscillator is trilobite 1 from Seamless, and the unison is at 11. I've detuned it a bunch, blended a little bit, and that's it. So again, I'm modulating the wavetable position with the LFO 1. And what I forgot to tell you is that I'm also modulating the pitch in the oscillator A. So I'm modulating it with the the envelope number 2. And what this is doing is basically just making a transient at the beginning, so the bass just hits harder at the beginning from, and then it gets, you know, whatever. I don't give a shit. Next up, we got a filter. I'm using the Cope LS. Next up, we got a filter. So I'm using the Comb Filter LS.
You're a donut. You're so stupid. You're so stupid. You're stupid. Dumb.
Next up, we got a filter. I'm using the Comb Filter L6-. And you can see all the values here. I'm modulating the cutoff also with the LFO number 1 here. I'll just show you all the values. Okay, good. Now, noise. I've chosen the Air Can 2 and I didn't mess with any of these knobs. It just makes it a little grittier at the top end, but I'm EQing it out a little bit because it was just too harsh on the ears. So I guess that's it. I don't know if I showed these values, probably yeah. So here I've turned on the mono legato as well. It's basically just turning on like these slide notes. If the bass overlaps at some points, it just creates nice slides. I like that a lot in neuro basses. So I'm basically turning these on always when I'm doing some kind of reese bass or growl like this. The next thing and the last thing in this window is the LFO itself, and it's pretty simple. It's just like one bar. You can just copy all these settings. It's nothing, not a rocket science. Let's move to the effects. I'm using the hyperdimension here, and I'm modulating it with the stereo macro knob. So what this is doing is just basically making it wider at some point. Like I'm controlling it with the automation, and you can get all these values here. I've turned these down, I think. This one is only at 3%, and I didn't mess with these at all. Next up, we got distortion. It's the most basic distortion you can get. Tube distortion mix is all the way up, and I'm modulating the drive with the LFO as well. So you can get the value here. Next up, we got a phaser here, just a little movement to the sound to make it a little bit more interesting. I've actually turned the mix all the way up, and you can get these values here. I'm modulating the frequency with the LFO as well, and these are all the way down. Next up, the chorus. I'm modulating the mix with the stereo button as well as the hyper and dimension, again to make it a little wider. And I've turned on the high pass here to, you don't really want to put this effect on the lower frequencies, so high pass is the right thing to do. And I don't know if I changed anything here. I don't think so. Next up, OTT, pretty easy. Mix all the way up, threshold a little bit down at minus 12 dB, and I don't think I've messed with any of these. Can copy the settings, maybe I did, but I don't think so. Next up is the EQ. I'm doing the typical neuro bass stuff, so this is just 2 notches moving. I'm using the LFO number 1 to move them. I'll show you these settings. I apologize for skipping between the buttons. Whatever. And the last thing, very important, is bandpass. I'm using the bandpass 12, and I'm modulating the mix and the cutoff with these macros here, and the drive is all the way up, the resonance is all the way down, the fat is all the way up to make it just as beefier as it gets. And that's pretty much it. Now I'm going to show you how to make the automation. Usually don't cover this in their tutorials, but I think this is even more important than the patch itself. So I'll just show you what I'm doing here. This is what it sounds like without adding automation at all. Now when I add in the stereo, you can hear how it gets wider. Next up, we got the pitch bend, which is very important here. Pitch bend is making it so much more powerful. So combined with the pitch bend at the beginning is just fucking crazy. So I like that a lot. And the last thing that I did here is just the filter, cutoff, and mix. Together they sound like that. It's just making it a little bit more interesting. Okay, and that's it. Let's hear it once again with all the tracks. Okay, that's enough. So if you like this video, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. It really helps me a lot. I'm gonna post way more, I promise. You can download the wavetable in the description, as I said. I'll dig it up for you. And maybe you can tell me what videos would you like to see. I've got some ideas, but maybe I can get some inspiration from you guys. Okay, so that's it. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.